Raising Resilient Kids, Growth Mindset for Parents. Written and published by Elevate Book. Introduction. Have you ever stared into your child's eyes and wondered if you're doing it right? Have you questioned your decisions, your reactions, your ability to guide this little human through life? You're not alone. Every parent wrestles with those thoughts. But here's something you need to hear. You're already more powerful than you think. Right now, within you, lies the greatest gift you can give your child. A growth mindset. This audiobook is not just a guide. It's a journey. A path to discover how your beliefs, your actions, your everyday words, can shape your child's future resilience. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be intentional. In these chapters, we'll uncover powerful strategies, backed by science and real-life stories, to help you raise a child who doesn't crumble under pressure, but rises. A child who doesn't fear failure, but embraces it. A child who believes, I can figure it out. Imagine the difference that would make. We'll explore how your mindset, as a parent, can become the secret weapon to raising confident, capable kids. Let's take this journey together. You are ready. You are capable. And your child is worth every step. Let's begin. Chapter 1. The Power of a Parent's Mindset. Let me take you back to a moment that changed everything. A mother stood in the kitchen, tears welling in her eyes, as her 8-year-old daughter crumpled her math test and tossed it aside. I'm just not smart, the little girl whispered. That one sentence shattered the silence. But more importantly, it revealed something far deeper than a failed test. It showed the presence of a fixed mindset. Where did she learn it? Not from her teacher, not from her peers, but from watching her mother. You see, our children are always watching. They hear how we speak about ourselves. They see how we handle mistakes. They mirror how we deal with stress. Parenting is not just teaching, it's modeling. And your mindset? It's contagious. Whether you believe challenges are opportunities or obstacles to avoid, your child absorbs that belief, silently, but powerfully. So here's the question. What are you teaching your child to believe by how you respond to life? When you grow, they grow. When you embrace discomfort, they follow. When you bounce back from failure, they learn how to stand tall. This chapter is about unlocking that power within you. It's not about being perfect. It's about being present and mindful of the narrative you're shaping. Let's dive into the science behind mindset and how even small shifts in your thinking can create big breakthroughs for your child. Because your beliefs become their blueprint. Understanding mindset. Let's begin with a simple truth. Mindset matters more than we realize. It's not just a concept. It's a lens through which we see the world. In the 1970s, psychologist Carol Dweck began studying how people react to failure. What she discovered changed everything. Some children, when faced with a tough problem, would light up. They'd say things like, "This is fun. I love a challenge." Others would shut down. Their faces dropped. Their energy vanished. Why? Because one group saw struggle as a sign of growth. The other saw it as a sign of weakness. This difference is what Dweck called mindset. There are two main types. A fixed mindset believes that intelligence, ability, and talent are static. You're either born with it, or you're not. A growth mindset, on the other hand, believes that skills can be developed. That effort leads to improvement. That setbacks are part of the process. And here's the kicker. Your child's mindset doesn't start with school. It starts at home. It starts with you. How your words shape their world. Picture this. Your child brings home a painting. You look at it and say, "You're such a good artist." Seems harmless, right? But that one sentence, though well-meaning, might do more harm than good. Because it praises the person, not the process. It reinforces the idea that being good is something they are, instead of something they do. Now imagine saying, "Wow, you used such bright colors. I can tell you put a lot of thought into this." See the difference? You're praising their effort, their choices, Their persistence. That's the seed of a growth mindset. And those seeds, when watered daily, grow into lifelong resilience. The truth about failure. Here's a truth many adults still struggle with. Failure isn't the opposite of success. It's the pathway to it. Think of every great inventor, leader, or artist. They didn't succeed because they avoided failure. They succeeded because they embraced it. Take Thomas Edison, for example. It took him over 1,000 tries to create a working light bulb. When asked about his failures, he said, "I didn't fail 1,000 times. The light bulb was an invention with 1,000 steps." That's growth mindset thinking. Now imagine if your child saw their own struggles the same way. Imagine if a failed test wasn't a verdict, but a lesson. If rejection wasn't a wound, but a step. If challenge wasn't a wall, but a window. That shift starts with how you respond when they fall. Do you rush in to fix it? Do you say, "It's okay, not everyone's good at math"? Or do you lean in and say, "I see how hard you're trying, and I'm proud of your effort. What do you think you can try next?" That one response might change everything. Modeling mindset through daily life. Let's talk real life. You're running late. Spilled coffee on your shirt. The dog won't stop barking. And your child is watching. What do they see? Do they see frustration or flexibility? Do they hear, "I can't do this today"? Or do they hear, "Okay, deep breath. I've got this"? We all have moments, but each one is a mirror. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be aware. Every time you say, "That didn't work, let's try again," you're modeling resilience. Every time you admit a mistake and take ownership, you're teaching humility and growth. Kids don't need perfect parents. They need growing ones. Celebrity examples of growth through struggle. Let's look at someone your child might know. J.K. Rowling. Before Harry Potter became a global phenomenon, she was a single mom, struggling to pay rent. She submitted her manuscript to over a dozen publishers. All of them said no, but she kept going. And today, her story inspires millions. Or take Michael Jordan. Did you know he was cut from his high school basketball team? Most would have given up. He doubled down. He said, "I've missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I've lost almost 300 games. 26 times, I've been trusted to take the game-winning shot and missed. I've failed over and over and over again in my life. And that is why I succeed." These are not stories of natural talent. They are stories of mindset. Stories of resilience. And those same traits can grow inside your child. Because the truth is, greatness isn't born. It's built. And you? You are the architect. The inner voice, where mindset takes root. Let's talk about something powerful, but often invisible. The inner voice. That quiet narration in your child's mind. That says things like, "I'm not good at this. I can't do it. I'll never get it right." Where does that voice come from? It's shaped, not just by experience, but by repetition, by what they hear daily, and most importantly, by what they hear from you. Every time you say, "You're so smart," "You're just not a math person," or "Let me do it for you," you feed that voice. But when you say, "I can see how hard you're working. That was tough, and you didn't quit," what do you think you learned from this? You transform it. You shape an inner voice that says, "I'm not there yet, but I can learn. I can keep going. I'm built for growth." And that voice? That's the difference between self-doubt and self-belief. Practical daily habits to build a growth culture. Let's make this real. Here are some daily habits that you can start using right away to cultivate a growth mindset in your home. 1. Use the power of yet. If your child says, "I can't do this," teach them to add one simple word. Yet. I can't do this, yet. It flips the script. It keeps the door open. 2. Praise effort, not outcome. Instead of saying, "You're so smart," say, You worked hard to figure that out. This keeps the focus on growth, not talent. 3. Normalize struggle. Share your own mistakes. Say things like, I used to find this hard too. Or I'm still learning. Let them see that learning is messy, and that's okay. 4. Ask reflection questions. What did you learn today? What challenged you? What would you do differently next time? This builds awareness and accountability. 5. Celebrate effort over perfection. Display their work even if it's not perfect. Celebrate persistence. Reward courage, not just results. These habits, when practiced consistently, build a culture, a home where growth is the norm. Your role as a resilience coach. You are not just a parent. You are your child's resilience coach. You are their first mirror, their emotional compass, their guide in the dark. And every time you choose to grow, they learn it's safe for them to grow too. So what does it look like to be a resilience coach? It looks like listening more than lecturing, asking instead of assuming, encouraging instead of rescuing. It looks like holding space when they cry, and not rushing to fix it. Saying, I'm here. I believe in you. You're not alone. It looks like helping them connect the dots between challenge and growth. Remember when you thought you couldn't do it? Look how far you've come. This isn't about being the perfect parent. It's about being a present parent. The legacy you're building. Every day you show up, you're laying bricks. Brick by brick. Moment by moment. You are building your child's future belief system. And the question becomes, what kind of legacy do you want to leave behind? Will your child grow up afraid to fail? Or bold enough to try? Will they give up when it gets hard? Or dig in deeper? Will they fear their limits? Or trust their capacity to learn? It starts with what you model. It grows with what you repeat. And it flourishes when you lead by faith in their ability to grow. So here's your reminder. You are not just raising a child. You are raising a future leader, a future thinker, a future problem solver. And every growth mindset moment you create ripples into who they become. Your affirmations as a parent. Let's end this chapter with powerful affirmations. Speak these aloud. Feel them in your soul. They are true. I am enough. I am growing as a parent every day. My child learns from my example. I choose progress over perfection. I believe in my ability to raise a resilient child. I honor mistakes as learning moments. I am shaping a future grounded in belief and strength. You're not just changing your child's mindset. You're transforming your legacy. Let's keep going. Let's grow together. Raising Resilient Kids. Growth Mindset for Parents. Written and published by Audiobook. Introduction. Have you ever stared into your child's eyes and wondered if you're doing it right? Have you questioned your decisions, your reactions, your ability to guide this little human through life? You're not alone. Every parent wrestles with those thoughts. But here's something you need to hear. You're already more powerful than you think. Right now, within you, lies the greatest gift you can give your child. A growth mindset. This audiobook is not just a guide. It's a journey. A path to discover how your beliefs, your actions, your everyday words can shape your child's future resilience. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be intentional. In these chapters, we'll uncover powerful strategies, backed by science and real-life stories, to help you raise a child who doesn't crumble under pressure, but rises. A child who doesn't fear failure, but embraces it. A child who believes, I can figure it out. Imagine the difference that would make. We'll explore how your mindset, as a parent, can become the secret weapon to raising confident, capable kids. Let's take this journey together. You are ready. You are capable. And your child is worth every step. Let's begin. Chapter 2. Building Emotional Resilience in Kids. Let me tell you a story. It was a rainy Tuesday morning. A father stood at the kitchen counter, coffee in hand, watching his son tie his shoes. Or at least, trying to. The boy huffed, untied the knot, tried again, and again, until finally, he tossed the laces and shouted, "I can't do this. I'm stupid." The father froze. Not because of the outburst, but because those words? He had once said them too. We often think resilience is about bouncing back from big things. Loss, rejection, heartbreak. But for a child, resilience is built in small moments. Shoelaces, spilled juice, a forgotten homework assignment. It's not the size of the challenge. It's the response that matters. And in this chapter, we're going to explore just that. How to nurture emotional resilience in your child. Because when emotions feel too big to handle, the brain shuts down. But when we teach our kids to navigate those storms, we raise children who don't drown in emotion. They learn how to swim through it. This is your next step in building a resilient mindset home. Let's dive in. Why emotions feel so big to kids. Here's something we often forget. Children don't come into this world knowing how to name what they feel. They don't have the words for frustration, the tools for sadness, or the strategies for anxiety. To them, a lost toy can feel like the end of the world. A spilled cup of milk can spark a storm. It's not because they're dramatic. It's because their brain is still under construction. The part of the brain that controls logic, reasoning, and impulse control, called the prefrontal cortex, isn't fully developed until their mid-20s. That means when your child is having a meltdown, they're not being difficult. They're being human. They're overwhelmed, confused, afraid. Sometimes, all at once. And your response in those moments? That's where emotional resilience begins. The role of co-regulation. Before a child can self-regulate, they need to be co-regulated. What does that mean? It means they borrow your calm until they can find their own. Think about a baby crying in the dark. When you pick them up, their heart rate slows. Their breath evens out. Why? Because they're connected to you. That doesn't end when they grow. Your presence, your tone, your body language becomes a template for how they learn to respond to big feelings. So the next time your child is upset, pause, take a breath, lower your voice. Say, "I can see this is really hard. I'm here with you." You don't need to fix it. You just need to be with them. And in doing so, you teach them that emotions aren't dangerous. They're just signals that can be navigated. Teaching emotional language. Kids can't process what they can't name. So we give them language. Instead of "I'm mad." Help them explore. Are they frustrated? Disappointed? Embarrassed? Left out? This builds emotional granularity. The ability to recognize and name subtle differences in feelings. And it's powerful. Studies show that kids who can name their emotions are less likely to act out and more likely to bounce back. Try this. Use an emotion thermometer. Ask, on a scale from 1 to 5, how big is the feeling right now? This helps them check in, and it gives them a sense of control. When they learn that emotions have levels, they stop feeling consumed by them. Chapter 3. Teaching kids to embrace failure. Let me paint you a picture. A young boy stands at the edge of a diving board. The pool below looks massive. His friends are watching. His heart pounds. He wants to jump, but he's afraid. His dad calls out, "You got this." But the fear in his chest is louder. He turns around, climbs back down, and says, "I failed." That word, failed, feels like a stamp, a verdict, the end of something. But here's the truth you and I both know. Failure is not the end. It's the beginning of becoming. In this chapter, we'll dive into one of the most misunderstood parts of childhood and parenting. How we teach our kids to relate to failure. Do they fear it? Or do they learn from it? Do they hide it? Or face it? Do they crumble or rise? Our answers shape how they walk through life. So let's change the narrative. Let's turn failure into their greatest teacher. Because when a child learns to embrace failure, they unlock fearless resilience. Let's begin. Where fear of failure begins. Let's get honest. No child is born afraid to fail. They learn that fear from what they see, hear, and experience. It happens when we frown at the red marks on a test, when we rush to fix a mistake for them, instead of letting them try again. It happens when they hear, "You should have known better," or "Why can't you get this right?" Slowly, failure becomes shame. Shame becomes silence. And silence becomes fear. But here's the truth. Failure is not a flaw. It's a form of feedback. It's a teacher. One of the best there is. And our job as parents is to make failure safe. Not soft. Not ignored. But safe. To explore, reflect, and grow. Reframing failure as feedback. Here's a phrase to teach your child. Fail means first attempt in learning. Say it with them. Repeat it often. Let it become their new inner script. When they get a problem wrong, say, "Great. Now we know what to work on." When they forget their lines on stage, say, "I loved how you kept going. That's what matters." When they lose the game, say, "I saw how hard you practiced. What did you learn from today?" These moments aren't about perfection. They're about progress. It's not about winning the spelling bee. It's about spelling one more word correctly than yesterday. Because resilience doesn't come from never falling down. It comes from always getting back up. Celebrity stories that normalize failure. Let's look at some powerful examples. Walt Disney was fired from his first job because he lacked imagination. Imagine that. Oprah Winfrey was told she was unfit for television. Albert Einstein didn't speak fluently until age 4. One of his teachers even said, "He will never amount to much." But they didn't stop. They used failure as fuel, as feedback, as a fork in the road, not a dead end. Let your child hear these stories. Let them see that behind every success is a trail of failure that taught them how to grow. Questions that build resilience after failure. After a setback, don't jump to fix. Jump to listen. Here are powerful reflection questions you can ask. What part felt hardest for you? What would you try differently next time? What did you learn about yourself? How did it feel to try, even if it didn't work? What do you need right now? Encouragement, a break, or a plan? These questions open doors. They shift the focus from outcome to ownership. They help your child process failure, not as an end, but as a step. Family rituals that normalize failure. Here's a powerful idea. What if your home became a place where failure was not only safe, but shared? Create a family ritual called Failure Friday or Lesson of the Week. Each person, including you, shares one thing they tried that didn't go as planned. Maybe you burned dinner. Maybe they forgot a homework assignment. Maybe someone didn't get picked for a part in the play. Then together, ask, what did we learn from it? How can we grow? This small ritual removes the shame. It replaces judgment with curiosity. And it shows your child that failure is not only okay, it's expected on the path to growth. Practical tools for failure recovery. When failure hits hard, kids need tools to bounce back. Here are some you can introduce. 1. The try again plan. Write down the mistake. Then list 2 things they can try differently next time. This shifts the brain from panic to possibility. 2. The growth jar. Every time someone in the family pushes through a challenge, drop a marble, a note, or a small token in the jar. Watch it grow. Celebrate effort. Let the jar be a visual reminder. We grow through what we go through. 3. The fail forward poster. Hang a sign that says, "It's okay to fail. It means you're trying." Add drawings or quotes that inspire. Make it your home's resilience wall. These tools aren't just activities. They're anchors. They teach your child that when failure comes, they are never stuck. They are strategic, empowered, and never alone. Affirmations to embrace failure with confidence. Let's close with words that empower. Say them aloud. Say them with your child. Let them echo through your home. I learn from my mistakes. Failure is not the end. It's a beginning. Each setback is a setup for growth. I am not afraid to try again. I don't have to be perfect to be powerful. Trying means I'm brave. Every mistake makes me wiser. And for you, the parent, I will not rescue my child from every failure. I will walk beside them through it. I am raising a child who knows how to rise. Failure is not something to avoid, it's something to learn from. I model growth, not perfection. This is how we build fearless kids. Not by preventing every fall, but by teaching them how to rise after each one. Let's keep building. Let's keep growing. Together. Chapter 4. Cultivating Confidence That Lasts. Close your eyes and picture this. A little girl stands in front of the mirror. She straightens her shoulders, practices a smile, and whispers to herself, I can do this. That moment, that whisper, is the root of confidence. Not arrogance, not perfection, but a quiet belief that says, I trust myself. In this chapter, we'll explore what it really takes to grow confidence that sticks, not just when things are easy, but when they're hard. We'll break down the myths that say confidence is something you're born with. We'll look at how your everyday words can become the soundtrack of your child's self-worth. We'll uncover the small moments that either build your child up or break them down, and we'll show you how to raise a child who doesn't just perform when praised, but perseveres when no one's watching. Because true confidence isn't loud, it's rooted. Let's begin. Confidence is not a personality trait, it's a skill. Let's bust a myth right now. Confidence is not something you either have or don't. It's not reserved for the loudest kid in the room, or the one who's always smiling on stage. Confidence is a skill, and like any skill, it can be taught. It can be practiced. It can be strengthened. So whether your child is shy or outgoing, quiet or expressive, reserved or bold, they can learn to trust themselves. They can learn to stand tall, to speak with clarity, to believe in their voice. Confidence isn't about being fearless. It's about showing up, even with fear. And that skill? It starts at home. The inner voice that shapes self-belief. There's a voice inside every child. The one that says, I can do this. Oh, I'm not good enough. That voice is built day by day, moment by moment, through words they hear and words they repeat. So ask yourself, what voice are you helping build? When your child struggles, do you say, you're just not good at that? Or do you say, it's okay, keep practicing. You'll get there. One builds self-doubt. The other builds self-trust. When they say, I can't, teach them to add, yet. Confidence grows through language. The more we speak belief, the more they believe they can grow. Praise that builds confidence, not pressure. Not all praise is created equal. Sometimes, praise can actually backfire. You're so smart, sounds great, but it can make a child afraid to fail. They might start thinking, if I mess up, maybe I'm not smart anymore. Instead, focus on praising the process. Try. You worked so hard on that project. I noticed how you stayed focused even when it got tricky. You didn't give up. That was brave. This kind of praise builds confidence from the inside out. It tells your child, I'm proud of how you show up, not just what you achieve. Confidence rooted in effort lasts longer than confidence rooted in approval. Helping kids own their voice in social settings. Social confidence isn't about being the loudest in the room. It's about feeling safe to be yourself. It's about knowing your voice matters, even if it shakes. Teach your child small steps. Making eye contact. Asking questions in conversations. Speaking up when they have an idea. Saying no when they need to. Practice role-playing at home. Let them pretend to order at a restaurant, or introduce themselves at a party. Then, celebrate the effort, not just the outcome. Say, you were brave for trying something new. You used your voice. That's powerful. Over time, their confidence will grow, not because they're always comfortable, but because they've learned to be courageous. Daily rituals to build deep self-belief. Confidence is not built in grand moments. It's built in the daily ones. It's the morning hug with a whisper of, "You've got this." The after-school debrief that ends with, "I'm proud of how you handled that." The bedtime routine where you ask, "What's one thing you did today that made you feel proud?" These rituals aren't random. They're intentional. They tell your child, over and over again, "You matter. You're capable. You are growing." Want to go deeper? Try a confidence jar. Every time your child tries something new, overcomes a fear, or makes a brave choice, write it down and place it in the jar. Then on tough days, pull one out. Remind them of who they already are becoming. Visualization and embodiment. Sometimes, what we see in our mind shapes what we believe in the world. Teach your child the power of visualization. Before a big event, a test, a performance, a game, ask them to close their eyes and imagine walking in calm, trying their best, feeling strong. Then add one more step. Ask them to stand like someone confident, feet grounded, shoulders back, eyes forward, because the body leads the brain. And when they act confident, the mind follows. Affirmations for unwavering confidence. Let's end this chapter with power. These affirmations are seeds. Plant them. Repeat them. Watch them grow. I believe in myself. My voice matters. I am brave, even when I'm scared. I learn from every experience. I am proud of my effort. I try, I grow, I succeed. And for you, the parent, I see my child's strengths, even when they don't. I speak belief into their future. I choose to model confidence, not control. I am raising someone who trusts themselves. Confidence doesn't have to be loud. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be real, rooted, encouraged, built with love, brick by brick. Let's keep going. Let's keep growing, together. Chapter 5. The Power of Emotionally Safe Connections. Picture this. Your child walks through the door. Their backpack drops. Their face is tight. You can tell something happened. You ask, "What's wrong?" They hesitate, look away, and say, "Nothing." But it's not nothing. It's everything. And in that moment, they're asking a silent question. Is it safe to share this with you? This chapter is about that answer. Because your connection, your presence, is the emotional oxygen your child needs to breathe freely. It's not about having all the answers. It's about being the place they want to come back to, again and again. In this chapter, we'll dive into how to create emotional safety at home, a space where feelings are welcomed, mistakes are met with grace, and your child knows, no matter what, I can be fully me and still be fully loved. Let's begin. Connection before correction. Let's start with a principle that can transform your parenting. Connect first. Correct later. When your child makes a mistake, our instinct is to fix it, to lecture, to discipline. But here's what the brain science tells us. A child's brain can't learn. When it feels threatened, it shuts down. It goes into survival mode. Fight, flight, freeze. But when a child feels safe, emotionally and physically, that's when learning happens. That's when growth begins. So the next time your child lashes out, melts down, or shuts off, pause. Instead of jumping in with correction, reach in with connection. Say, "I'm here. I see you. Let's breathe." Later, when they're calm, then you can talk about choices and better ways to respond. This one shift changes everything. Validating their feelings without fixing. Most kids don't need you to fix their pain. They just need you to feel it with them. When they say, "Everyone laughed at me," don't rush to say, "They didn't mean it." Instead, try, "That must have felt really hard. I'm sorry that happened." When they say, "I hate school," don't jump to solutions. Say, "Sounds like something really tough happened today. Want to tell me more?" Validation doesn't mean agreement. It means acknowledgement. It tells your child, your feelings are real, and they matter to me. This builds trust, and trust builds safety, creating a judgment-free zone. If your child is afraid to tell you the truth, they won't. And not because they want to lie, but because they fear the reaction. So here's a powerful practice. When your child tells you something hard, pause, take a breath, and say, "Thank you for telling me. That was brave." Even if what they shared makes your heart race, even if the consequences are real, start with gratitude for their honesty. This one phrase can keep the door open, even through the teenage years, even when it's messy. Because when honesty is met with safety, they learn they don't have to hide to be loved. Daily connection rituals that build trust. You don't need hours a day to build emotional safety. You need moments. Moments of presence. Moments of gentleness. Moments of shared space. Here are simple but powerful rituals. 1. 5-minute check-in. Each evening, ask, "What's one high and one low from your day?" This opens the door. It shows you're not just interested in behavior. You care about their heart. 2. Bedtime heart talk. Just before lights out, sit beside them. Hold their hand. Ask, "Is there anything you didn't get to say today?" This is when the most honest moments emerge. When the world slows down, and trust can speak up. 3. Connection before transitions. Before school. Before practice. Before bed, offer a hug, a smile, a look in the eyes. Remember, I love you no matter what. That one sentence is armor for their day. How to repair after disconnection. Every parent loses their cool sometimes. Every connection is tested. But what matters most is what you do next. Teach your child this. We don't need to be perfect. We just need to repair. When you snap, come back and say, "I'm sorry for yelling. That wasn't fair to you. You didn't deserve that. Can we talk about it?" This models accountability. It teaches humility. And it says, "You matter enough for me to make it right." Kids don't need perfect parents. They need human ones, willing to grow and willing to reconnect. Affirmations that strengthen emotional safety. Let's end this chapter with words that nurture trust. Words your child can hold close, and you can speak into their soul. I am safe to be myself. I can talk about anything without fear. My feelings are not too much. Even when I make mistakes, I am still loved. My voice matters. I belong in this family just as I am. And for you, the parent, I choose connection over control. I make space for emotion, not just behavior. I am a safe place for my child to land. I listen with love, even when it's hard. I'm building a bond that lasts a lifetime. Because that's what this is about. Not just surviving the hard moments, but building the kind of bond that turns hearts toward each other, again and again. Let's keep growing, together. Chapter 6. Discipline with dignity, raising without shame. Imagine this. Your child knocks over a glass of juice. You feel your body tighten. The instinct rises, to shout, to scold, to snap. But instead, you pause, you breathe, and you choose a different response. Not because they don't need correction, but because you know, discipline is not about control. It's about teaching. In this chapter, we're going to reimagine discipline. Not as punishment, but as guidance. Not as fear, but as clarity. You'll learn how to hold boundaries without breaking your child's spirit. How to teach responsibility without using shame. And how to stay firm while staying connected. Because kids don't need a parent who's perfect. They need a parent who leads with truth and tenderness. This is how we raise children who learn from their choices, not fear them. Let's begin. Why punishment doesn't teach. IT shuts down. Let's begin with a truth most of us were never told. Punishment doesn't build discipline. It builds disconnection. When a child is yelled at, humiliated, or isolated, they might stop the behavior. But not because they understand. Because they're afraid. And fear might create short-term compliance. But it doesn't create long-term character. When the goal is obedience, we miss the chance to build ownership. Discipline isn't about what happens to a child. It's about what happens within them. Do they learn from their mistake? Or just learn to hide it? Do they reflect and grow? Or shrink in shame? Let's trade fear for accountability. Let's trade control for coaching. The difference between shame and responsibility. Here's a key distinction every parent must understand. Shame says, you are bad. Responsibility says, you made a bad choice. One attacks identity. The other invites change. When your child spills paint on the floor, and you say, you're so careless, that's shame. But when you say, that was a messy choice, how can we clean it up together? That's teaching responsibility. We're not raising robots. We're raising humans. Humans who will mess up, who will forget, who will make the wrong choice, again and again. Our job isn't to make them feel bad for falling. It's to help them learn how to rise. Firm limits with kindness. Being gentle doesn't mean being permissive. Kids need limits. They crave structure. They feel safer when boundaries are clear. But they don't need those limits delivered with anger. They need them delivered with calm certainty. Try this. I won't let you hit. I know you're upset. Let's find another way to show how you feel. You're having a hard time listening. We'll take a break and try again in 5 minutes. You didn't finish your homework, so you'll have to pause screen time tonight. Let's talk about how you can stay on track tomorrow. This is firmness with love. It's clear. It's respectful. It teaches responsibility without crushing the relationship. Logical consequences that teach, not hurt. Consequences are not meant to hurt. They're meant to teach. A logical consequence is one that is related to the behavior, respectful in delivery, reasonable in scale, helpful in learning. Let's say your child forgets their homework. Instead of scolding, you let them face the natural outcome. You'll need to explain to your teacher tomorrow, I believe you can do it. Or if they break a toy by throwing it, you don't replace it. You say, toys need to be treated with care. Let's figure out how to keep the others safe. This isn't punishment. It's a partnership in learning. It says, I trust you to grow from this, not just be scared by it. Regulating yourself before you correct them. Here's the secret every parent needs. Before you lead your child through discipline, you have to lead yourself. Because when you're triggered, frustrated, overwhelmed, you can't guide. You'll likely react. So pause. Check in with your body. Take a breath. Speak slower. Ground yourself in the moment. You can say, I need a minute to calm down before we talk about this. That's not weakness. That's emotional leadership. And when your child sees you regulate, they learn how to do the same. You're not just correcting behavior. You're modeling emotional maturity. Affirmations for shame-free discipline. Let's close this chapter with grounding words. Say them to yourself. Say them to your child. Let them shape the way you guide with strength and softness. I can be firm and kind at the same time. Discipline is a chance to teach, not to shame. My calm is more powerful than my anger. Boundaries are love in action. I correct behavior without attacking identity. My child can grow through correction, not fear it. And for your child, I can make mistakes and still be loved. When I mess up, I can make it right. I am learning. I am growing. I am safe. Because the goal isn't a child who fears your presence. It's a child who respects your leadership and still feels safe enough to be human in front of you. That's discipline with dignity. Let's keep going. Let's keep growing together. Chapter 8. Building Emotional Intelligence, the Greatest Life Skill. Imagine your child standing on a playground. A friend snatches a toy. Another whispers behind their back. Or a teacher gives unexpected feedback. Now pause. How does your child respond? Do they lash out? Do they shut down? Or do they pause, breathe, and choose with intention? That moment, right there, is emotional intelligence in action. And in this chapter, we're going to unpack it all. You'll learn what emotional intelligence really means, why it matters more than IQ, and how to help your child develop the ability to recognize, name, and manage emotions, in themselves and in others. We're not just raising children who know how to read books. We're raising children who know how to read themselves. Because that skill, that's what leads to healthy relationships, resilient decision-making, and lifelong success. Let's begin. What is emotional intelligence? Really, emotional intelligence, or EQ, isn't about being soft. It's about being strong enough to feel. It's the ability to recognize your emotions, understand where they come from, manage them effectively, and respond to others with empathy. Think about it. We spend years teaching kids to read words. But how much time do we spend teaching them to read emotions? This skill isn't optional. It's essential. Studies show that children with higher EQ have better focus in school, form healthier friendships, resolve conflict more effectively, and become more successful, personally and professionally. And the best part? Emotional intelligence can be taught. It can be modeled. And it can be grown. Teaching emotional literacy. Before kids can manage their emotions, they need to name them. And mad or sad aren't enough. Help your child expand their emotional vocabulary. Instead of mad, could it be frustrated, embarrassed, disrespected? Instead of sad, could it be left out, disappointed, lonely? Try using a feelings wheel or mood meter at home. Make it a part of your daily check-in. Ask, what emotion are you feeling right now? What color does it feel like? What does it feel like in your body? You're not just building vocabulary. You're building self-awareness. Modeling emotional regulation. Kids don't learn emotional intelligence from lectures. They learn it from observation. When you feel overwhelmed, and say, I need a moment to breathe before I respond. They learn how to pause. When you admit, I got frustrated earlier, I wish I had spoken more calmly. They learn that emotions are safe to acknowledge. You're showing them. It's okay to feel. It's okay to mess up. It's powerful to repair. That's emotional intelligence in real time. Growing empathy. Seeing through another's eyes. Empathy is the heartbeat of emotional intelligence. It's not just saying I'm sorry. It's feeling what someone else might be feeling. It's pausing to wonder, what's it like to be them right now? You can grow empathy in your child by asking powerful, curious questions. How do you think they felt when that happened? What would you want someone to say to you in that situation? What do you think they might have been going through? Use books, shows, and real-life situations as springboards for these conversations. Empathy doesn't make your child soft. It makes them strong enough to care. Helping kids handle conflict with emotional wisdom. Conflict is a part of life. But how we handle it, that's emotional maturity. Teach your child simple steps. Pause before reacting. Take a breath. What are you feeling? Name your need. I felt upset when you ignored me. I wanted to feel included. Listen to understand. What were you feeling when that happened? Make repair. I'm sorry for yelling. Next time, I'll speak calmly. This process takes time. Practice it with them. Model it yourself. Because conflict handled with emotional intelligence builds character, trust, and connection. Affirmations for emotional growth. Let's close this chapter with powerful emotional affirmations. Let your child speak these. Let them become part of their emotional foundation. I can feel all my feelings and still be okay. Emotions are information, not enemies. I notice how others feel, and I care. I take responsibility for how I act, even when it's hard. I can calm my body and choose my response. And for you, the parent, I create a space where emotions are safe and seen. I model the emotional intelligence I want to grow in my child. I listen more than I lecture. I know that teaching feelings takes time, repetition, and grace. This is not just about raising kids who behave. It's about raising kids who understand themselves and connect with the world heart first. Let's keep going. Let's keep growing together. Chapter 9. Navigating Friendships and Social Challenges. Friendships are one of childhood's greatest gifts, and sometimes, its greatest struggles. Imagine your child walking onto a playground. They want to join a game, but feel nervous. They try to speak, but their voice catches. Or worse, they get left out. As parents, we wish we could shield them. Step in. Make it better. But the truth is, we can't always prevent the pain. What we can do is equip them to handle it. In this chapter, we're going to explore the social world of children, the friendships that fill them, the rejections that shake them, and the social skills that carry them through it all. You'll learn how to help your child develop boundaries, handle conflict, and choose friends that lift them up, not tear them down. Because your child's relationships will shape how they see themselves. Let's teach them how to connect without losing who they are. Let's begin. Teaching kids what a healthy friendship looks like. Here's the truth. Kids don't automatically know what a good friend is. They learn by example, by experience, and by guidance. So let's teach them. A good friend listens and respects your feelings, celebrates your wins without competition, encourages you when you're down, tells the truth, even when it's hard, accepts you as you are. And just as important, a true friend never makes you feel small, pressured, or afraid to be yourself. Ask your child, how do you feel after spending time with this person? Do they make you feel more like yourself, or less? These questions help build relational awareness. And that's the foundation of relational health. The power of social confidence. Some children are naturally outgoing. Others take their time. Confidence isn't about popularity. It's about authentic presence. Social confidence grows through small, repeated experiences. Saying hello first. Joining a group activity. Asking someone to play. Standing up for yourself with kindness. Encourage these moments. Don't force them, but celebrate them. Say, I noticed you introduced yourself today. That was brave. Or, you spoke up. I'm really proud of that. When kids believe they belong, they begin to show up as themselves. Helping kids handle rejection and left-out moments. Rejection hurts. Even as adults, it stings. But for kids, it can feel crushing. The key isn't to prevent rejection. It's to build tools to move through it. Say, it's okay to feel hurt. That shows your heart is open. Then follow with, you are worthy of friends who see your light. Help them make meaning out of pain. Ask, what did you learn about that friendship? What kind of friends do you want to find going forward? You're not just soothing them. You're strengthening them. Because heartbreak can also be a doorway to self-worth. Recognizing toxic friendships. Sometimes, the hardest lesson to learn is that not every friend is meant to stay. A toxic friendship is one that makes your child feel anxious or inferior, involves constant drama, control, or comparison, punishes them for having boundaries, damages their self-esteem. It doesn't mean the other child is bad. It means the dynamic is unhealthy. Teach your child how to identify red flags. Do you feel drained after being with them? Do you feel like you have to change to keep them happy? Then remind them, a real friend celebrates who you are, not who they want you to be. Help them exit gracefully when needed. Let them know that letting go is sometimes the most loving thing they can do for themselves. Teaching inclusion and kindness. While we want to protect our kids, we also want to teach them to protect others. Talk to your child about what it means to include someone, what it feels like to be left out, and the power of being the person who says, you can sit with us. Ask, who didn't have a partner today? Is there someone new at school who might need a friend? Inclusion isn't a lecture. It's a lifestyle. And when we raise kids who look out for others, we build a world that feels just a little bit kinder. Affirmations for social confidence and connection. Let's close this chapter with words that build courage, confidence, and connection. These are for your child. I am worthy of kind, respectful friends. I can say no to people who treat me poorly. I choose friends who lift me up. I am brave enough to start new conversations. Being myself is enough. I belong. And these are for you, the parent. I guide my child through friendships with grace, not fear. I trust their ability to grow through social experiences. I model healthy boundaries in my own relationships. I celebrate the small social steps they take each day. Friendships shape who we are and how we see ourselves in the world. Let's raise kids who choose connection without compromising their truth. Let's keep growing together. Chapter 10. Raising tech-wise kids in a digital world. Screens are everywhere. Tablets in their hands. Phones in their pockets. Endless notifications. Non-stop scrolling. And in the middle of it all, your child, trying to grow up in a world that never powers down. As parents, we face a new kind of challenge. How do we raise mindful, grounded kids in a world designed to distract them? This chapter is not about fear. It's about freedom with responsibility. Together, we'll explore how to create healthy boundaries with tech, build digital discipline, and teach your child that their attention is a superpower. You'll learn practical screen time strategies, conversation starters, and tools to build presence, balance, and connection. Because the goal isn't to avoid technology, it's to use it wisely. Let's begin. Why tech-wise parenting starts with you. Before we talk about your child's screen time, let's talk about yours. Because the truth is, they're watching you. When you reach for your phone in boredom, they learn to do the same. When dinner becomes background noise to a screen, they notice. When your eyes are on a device instead of them, they feel it. This isn't about guilt. It's about awareness. If we want kids to manage their tech habits, we have to manage ours. Model screen-free meals. Make eye contact during conversations. Create no-phone zones in the house. Let your life say, "You matter more than my notifications." The cost of constant connectivity. Technology connects us, yes, but too much of it disconnects us from ourselves. Kids today are showing more signs of anxiety, attention struggles, sleep problems, low self-esteem. Why? Because the digital world moves fast, but emotions move slow. Every scroll, every like, every swipe trains their brain to chase dopamine and avoid discomfort. So when life gets quiet, or boring, or hard, they reach for a screen instead of reaching inward. Our job is to break that cycle. Creating a family tech plan. Rules are more powerful when they're made together. Sit down and co-create a family tech agreement. Include when screens are allowed, where devices stay at night, what apps or games are safe, how much time is healthy. Ask your child, what's fair to you? How do screens make you feel after too much time? You'll be surprised by their insight. Give them voice, and they'll take more ownership. Post your plan somewhere visible. Review it often. Make it a living agreement, one that evolves with age and trust. Because structure doesn't limit freedom, it protects it. Digital safety. Teaching tech without fear. Your child is growing up in a world where information is everywhere, but so are risks. Cyberbullying, inappropriate content, online predators, addictive apps. But we don't need to parent from panic. We need to parent with presence. Start with honest, age-appropriate conversations. Ask, have you ever seen something online that made you uncomfortable? What would you do if someone sent you a message that didn't feel right? How do you know when a post is real or not? Install filters, yes. Use monitoring tools, yes. But don't let software replace your connection. Because the strongest filter is a child who trusts they can tell you anything. Creating screen-free spaces and rituals. Not all screen time is bad, but every child needs screen-free rhythms. Try this. No screens at meals. No screens in bedrooms. No screens during family time. A weekly tech-free hour or digital detox day. Instead, Fill those moments with walks, board games, cooking together, storytelling, just being present. These aren't just breaks from screens. They're bridges to real connection. Affirmations: 4 healthy tech habits. Let's close this chapter with affirmations to ground your child and you in mindful, meaningful digital use. For your child, I can enjoy screens without letting them control me. My attention is valuable. I choose where to give it. I take breaks to stay connected to myself. I know how to speak up if something online feels wrong. I use tech to create, not just consume. And for you, the parent, I lead by example in how I use my phone. I teach digital responsibility with trust, not fear. I prioritize presence over perfection. I raise a child who knows their worth beyond any screen. This isn't about tech-free living. It's about tech-wise parenting. Let's keep going. Let's keep growing together. Chapter 11. Supporting your child through school stress and pressure. It starts with a sigh, a slammed backpack, a tear-filled "I hate school." And just like that, you know something's off. Maybe it's a tough test, a tricky teacher, a pile of unfinished homework, or the invisible pressure to always be perfect. School is supposed to be about learning, but for so many kids, it becomes a place of overwhelm, comparison, and anxiety. In this chapter, we'll talk about what school stress really feels like from a child's perspective. We'll unpack the pressure to perform, and how to replace it with the freedom to grow. You'll learn how to support your child emotionally, help them set goals without fear, and remind them that who they are matters more than any grade they bring home. Because raising resilient kids doesn't mean shielding them from stress. It means walking with them through it, with grace, perspective, and steady love. Let's begin. What school stress really feels like for kids. To an adult, a missed assignment might seem small. But to a child, it can feel like a mountain crashing down. School stress doesn't always look like crying. Sometimes it looks like irritability, avoidance, headaches and stomachaches with no clear cause. It looks like, "I don't care anymore." When deep down, they care too much. Academic pressure isn't just about tests. It's about the silent belief many kids carry. If I don't do well, maybe I'm not enough. And that's the belief we have to break. Checking in, not checking up. There's a difference between asking, "Did you do your homework?" and asking, "How are you feeling about school today?" One checks up on performance. The other checks in on the person. Ask questions that go deeper. What felt hard about today? What's something you're proud of this week? Is there anything you wish your teacher or classmates understood better? These check-ins build trust. They help your child feel seen, not just measured. And when a child feels emotionally safe, they begin to open up. Redefining success in your home. We live in a world that idolizes achievement. Trophies, grades, gold stars. But what if success in your home wasn't about being the best? It was about being brave, trying again, speaking up, failing forward, staying kind, even when it's hard. Make effort the standard. Make growth the celebration. Say things like, "You worked so hard on that. I noticed. It was courageous to ask for help. I'm proud of how you handled that disappointment." Your words become their definition of success. Let's help them define it by who they're becoming, not just what they produce. Creating calm routines around school. Stress multiplies in chaos, but it softens in structure. Start and end the school day with calm, predictable moments. Morning. Wake up early enough to avoid rushing. Play soft music or light a calming candle. Offer words of grounding. You've got this. One moment at a time. After school. Create a space for emotional debrief. What's one thing that went well today? Offer snacks, quiet, and connection before questions. Avoid jumping straight into correction or tasks. Evening. Reflect with your child. What's something you want to try differently tomorrow? Prepare things for the next day together. End with comfort. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to keep showing up. Routines build safety, and safety builds capacity to learn. Coping tools for academic anxiety. When the pressure rises, kids need tools, not just advice. Here are some simple coping strategies. Worry box. Let them write their worries and place them in a box at night. 5-4-3-2-1 grounding. Name 5 things you can see, for you can touch, and so on. Breathe and break. Teach them to pause and take 3 deep breaths before starting homework. Positive post-it wall. Write encouraging notes and stick them above their desk. These aren't just tricks. They're anchors. They remind your child, you are not powerless. You are supported. Affirmations for school strength and stability. Let's close this chapter with affirmations. To guide your child through school with resilience and peace. For your child, I am more than my grades. Every mistake is part of learning. I am allowed to try, struggle, and grow. I can ask for help when I need it. I am doing my best, and that is enough. And for you, the parent, I support my child without pressure. I choose encouragement over control. I create space for both effort and rest. I trust that learning is a process, not a performance. Together, you are not just getting through the school year. You're building strength that will carry them for life. Let's keep growing, together. Chapter 12. Fostering Independence. Raising kids who own their growth. There's a moment when your child zips their own jacket, ties their own shoes, packs their own lunch, without being asked. And in that moment, you see something shift. They're not just doing the task. They're stepping into ownership. That's what this chapter is about. Because independence isn't about letting go. It's about equipping. Equipping your child to make decisions, take responsibility, learn from mistakes, and trust their own voice. In this chapter, we'll explore how to build independence without pressure, responsibility without shame, and freedom with healthy boundaries. You'll discover the power of giving choice, the beauty of letting them struggle, and the confidence that comes from learning by doing. Because your job isn't to carry them through life. It's to walk beside them, until they can stand on their own. Let's begin. Independence starts small and early. Independence doesn't begin with big leaps. It begins with tiny steps. Pouring their own cereal, picking out their clothes, packing their backpack, making their bed, even if it's a little crooked. These aren't chores. They're confidence builders. When kids do things for themselves, they feel capable. They learn to problem solve. They begin to think, I can handle this. So don't wait until they are ready. Let them try. Let them stumble. Let them figure it out, with your support nearby. Because every small act of independence is a step toward self-trust. Giving choices that build decision-making skills. One of the simplest ways to grow independence? Offer choice, but not unlimited freedom. Bounded choice. Would you like to do your homework at the table or on the couch? Do you want to wear the blue shirt or the red one today? Would you rather clean your room now or after dinner? These micro-decisions teach your child. Their voice matters. They are part of the process. They can make decisions and live with the outcome. The goal isn't control. It's collaboration. Natural consequences versus punishment. Independence means responsibility. And responsibility grows best through experience. Instead of punishing forgetfulness, let the natural consequence teach. You forgot your lunch? That must have been hard. Let's think together how to remember it next time. Instead of shielding from discomfort, guide them through it. You didn't finish your project in time? Let's reflect on what got in the way and how to plan differently next time. When kids learn that actions have consequences, without fear, shame, or blame, they begin to own their choices with clarity. Growth through responsibility, not perfection. Here's the key. Responsibility doesn't mean getting everything right. It means being willing to keep trying. Let your child experience the full arc. Making a plan, following through, missing the mark, adjusting the strategy, and trying again. This is how they develop resilience. This is how they learn. I am capable of handling life, one step at a time. When they forget, fumble, or fall, be the calm voice that says, "It's okay to mess up. What can we learn here?" Trying again is part of growing stronger. Responsibility should never feel like pressure. It should feel like empowerment. Affirmations to build self-trust and leadership. Let's end this chapter with words that anchor independence. In confidence, calm, and courage. For your child, I can take care of myself in small ways. I make decisions and learn from them. I am allowed to try, fail, and try again. I am learning to trust my voice. Each new task helps me grow stronger. And for you, the parent, I let go of control to make space for growth. I guide without rescuing. I support without hovering. I trust my child's process, even when it's messy. I am raising someone who will know how to lead themselves. Because independence isn't built in a day. It's built in the everyday. Let's keep growing, together. Chapter 13. Raising kids with strong values in a changing world. The world is loud. Everyone has an opinion. A screen. A platform. A perspective. And your child? They're growing up right in the middle of it. So how do we make sure they don't lose themselves? Trying to fit in? This chapter is about values. Not the kind you recite, but the kind you live. Kindness, courage, integrity, compassion, honesty. These are more than words. They're anchors. They help our children navigate peer pressure, social media, and moral crossroads. With confidence and conscience. In this chapter, you'll learn how to model values through action, talk about them in everyday life, and help your child choose their path, even when it's not popular. Because we don't just want kids who succeed. We want kids who stand for something. Let's begin. Values are caught, not just taught. You can tell your child to be kind, but when they see you comfort a stranger, hold the door, apologize with sincerity, that's when it clicks. Because values aren't just explained, they're embodied. Your daily choices are the loudest lesson they'll ever learn. When you choose honesty over convenience, compassion over criticism, responsibility over blame, you're not just parenting, you're planting character. Using everyday moments to teach character. Big lectures don't build strong values. Small conversations do. When someone cuts you off in traffic, what do you think was going on in their day? When they lose a game, how did you handle that? How do you wish the other team handled it? When they face peer pressure, what does your heart say is the right thing? Use real-life moments, wins, losses, mistakes, as doorways into deeper truth. Ask, what does integrity look like here? What kind of person do you want to be? Because children don't need to be told what's right. They need to be guided into discovering it for themselves. The power of family core values. Families need a compass. Sit down together and ask, what matters most in our family? Write down 3 to 5 core values. Post them somewhere visible. They might be, we treat others with respect. We speak truth, even when it's hard. We make mistakes, own them, and learn. We include people who feel left out. We do hard things with courage. Refer to these values often. During tough choices. During sibling conflict. During everyday routines. Let them be a living guide. A shared heartbeat. Because when values live in your home, they grow in your child. Standing strong in a world that pulls hard. Your child will be tested. There will be moments when telling the truth feels costly. When speaking up feels scary. When choosing the right thing means standing alone. And that's when values become real. Not just words, but a compass. Teach your child how to hold onto themselves. When the crowd says, let go. Remind them, it's okay to say no. It's okay to walk away. It's okay to choose what feels right, even when it's not easy. Role-play hard moments. Practice boundary phrases. Encourage reflection after tough social choices. Say things like, you stayed true to yourself. That's brave. You didn't follow the crowd, you followed your heart. Because character isn't built in comfort. It's built in choice. Affirmations to ground values and character. Let's end this chapter with powerful, grounding truths. For both your child and you. For your child. I know what I stand for. I make choices that align with my values. I speak with honesty and lead with kindness. I have the courage to be myself. Even when it's hard, I choose what's right. And for you, the parent. I model the values I want to see in my child. I parent with consistency, not perfection. I guide with integrity, not fear. I raise a child who will be true to who they are. The world will try to shape them. But when values run deep, they stay grounded. Let's keep growing, together. Chapter 14. Building Emotional Resilience in Teens. Strength Through the Storms. The teenage years. A time of change. Of questions. Of big emotions. And even bigger identity shifts. One moment your child is laughing in the kitchen. The next, they're slamming their door. Sound familiar? Welcome to the beautiful, messy middle. Between childhood and adulthood. And while it might feel like they're pulling away, what they really need is your presence, steady and calm. This chapter is all about resilience. Not just surviving the teen years, but helping your child grow stronger through them. We'll explore how to navigate mood swings and meltdowns. How to stay connected even when they push you away. How to help them handle disappointment, rejection, and stress. And how to keep the door open, no matter what. Because emotional resilience isn't about avoiding struggle. It's about rising through it. With self-trust, inner calm, and your love as a lighthouse. Let's begin. Emotional waves, and how to ride them together. Teen emotions can be intense. 1 minute, they're confident. The next, they're questioning everything. That's not failure. That's formation. Their brain is rewiring. Their identity is unfolding. Their emotions are testing their boundaries. And what they need most is not someone to fix it. They need someone who stays calm in the waves. When they lash out, stay steady. When they break down, stay soft. When they shut down, stay near. Say, I'm here. I won't force you to talk. But when you're ready, I'm ready too. Or, I can see you're overwhelmed. Let's take a breath together. Your presence is the anchor, not your answers. Staying close even when they pull away. Teenagers are wired to separate, but they're also wired to stay connected. It's a paradox. And you're living it. They need space to grow, but they also need to know you're not going anywhere. Create small connection rituals. Late night chats after lights are off. Drive time conversations without pressure. Text messages that say, I'm thinking of you, no need to reply. Don't chase. Don't lecture. Just keep the door open. Be consistent. Be kind. Be safe. They'll come back. Not because you demanded it, but because they feel the gravity of your love. Letting them struggle, and still standing by. Resilience is not built by avoiding hard things. It's built by moving through them, and knowing they don't have to do it alone. Let them wrestle with a hard grade. Let them sit in the discomfort of a lost friendship. Let them feel the sting of disappointment. Then say, I won't take this away from you, but I will walk beside you through it. That's what creates real strength. Because your teen doesn't need you to carry their pain. They need to know they can carry it. With you in their corner. Giving them tools, not just talk. Support is powerful, but tools make it practical. Here are simple ways to help your teen build emotional resilience. Name the feeling. I feel anxious about this test is more powerful than just I'm freaking out. Use grounding techniques. Teach the 5-4-3-2-1 method to reconnect to the moment. Write it out. Journaling helps them organize their thoughts and feel less overwhelmed. Create a calm down playlist. Let them choose songs that soothe or empower. Anchor with breath. Deep, intentional breathing calms the nervous system and restores clarity. These tools don't take away the struggle. They help your teen move through it. With agency, courage, and self-awareness. Affirmations for teen resilience and self-belief. Let's close this chapter with bold, grounding affirmations. For the storms, the stillness, and every space in between. For your teen. I can feel my emotions without being controlled by them. I can face hard things and grow stronger. I don't have to be perfect to be loved. Even when I fall, I can rise again. I am worthy. I am learning. I am enough. And for you, the parent. I support without fixing. I stand without rescuing. I trust the process, even when it's messy. I am a steady presence through the highs and lows. I am building strength, one conversation at a time. Because the teen years aren't about getting it right. They're about growing. With grace, grit, and unconditional love. Let's keep going. Let's keep growing, together. Chapter 15. Cultivating joy and connection. Making home a place to belong. Not every day is easy, but even in the chaos, in the missed shoes, the spilled cereal, the bedtime battles, there's a deeper question being asked. Is this a place where I'm safe to be me? This chapter is about answering that question. With laughter, with presence, and with joy. Because while discipline shapes behavior, and resilience shapes character, joy shapes the soul. When your child looks back one day, they may not remember every rule, every reward, or every routine, but they will remember how it felt to come home. Warm, welcomed, wanted. In this chapter, we'll explore how to create connection rituals, spark everyday moments of laughter, bring playfulness into the pressure, and build a home culture rooted in emotional safety. Because joy isn't just a feeling, it's a practice. And it starts with you. Let's begin. Rituals that root your family in connection. Rituals aren't routines. They're relationship moments. They don't have to be fancy. They just have to be felt. Saying I love you before bed, every night. A handshake or hug before school. A weekly game night, no screens allowed. A song you always sing in the car. A family meal where everyone shares a high and low. These moments don't take hours. They take intention. And over time, they become part of your child's emotional DNA. A rhythm that says, you belong here. We're in this together. Bringing playfulness into the pressure. Life can be serious, but not every moment needs to be. When your child forgets their homework again, try a silly voice instead of a scolding one. When the house feels tense, start a spontaneous dance party. When you're cleaning, race to see who can finish their chores first. This isn't about ignoring responsibility. It's about making room for lightness in the load. Because joy doesn't just lift moods. It deepens connection, making home a safe place to land. Your child's world is filled with comparison, competition, and criticism. So home should feel different. Home should feel like a soft place to fall. That doesn't mean no boundaries. It means boundaries delivered with warmth. It means, you're still learning, and I'm here for you. I see you're having a hard day. You don't have to go through it alone. You are loved. Full stop. When your child knows that home is where their whole self is welcome, that's when joy takes root. Not just for them, but for all of you. Affirmations for family joy and belonging. Let's close this chapter with words that breathe life into the heart of your home. Because joy isn't a luxury. It's nourishment. It strengthens bonds. It anchors identity. It makes love visible. For your child, I am safe to be myself in this home. I am seen, heard, and valued. I belong here. Always. My presence brings joy to this family. Even on hard days, I am still deeply loved. And for you, the parent, I create a home where joy lives and love leads. I choose presence over perfection. I hold space for laughter, connection, and growth. I build rituals that shape memories and meaning. I make this home a refuge, for them, and for me. Because when a child feels joy at home, they carry that light wherever they go. Let's keep going. Let's keep growing, together. Chapter 16. Breaking Cycles. Healing Generational Patterns with Love. Some lessons aren't spoken. They are passed down. The silence, the shame, the anger, the perfectionism, the fear of not being enough. Maybe you felt it growing up. Maybe you promised yourself you'd do it differently. And now, here you are, parenting, caught between the past you lived and the future you long to build. This chapter is about healing, not just for your child, but for you. Because every time you choose gentleness over control, listening over yelling, connection over fear, you are not just raising a child. You are rewriting history. In this chapter, we'll explore how to recognize the patterns you inherited, how to respond instead of repeat, how to forgive the past, and how to move forward with grace, truth, and courage. Because your healing becomes their freedom. Let's begin. Awareness, the first step to breaking the cycle. You can't heal what you don't see. Take a breath. Look inward. What did love look like in your home growing up? What was allowed? What was punished? What was never talked about at all? Did you have to earn affection? Were mistakes met with silence or shame? Was vulnerability seen as weakness? These questions aren't about blame. They're about awareness. Because when you become aware, you become free to choose differently, responding instead of repeating. Maybe there are moments where your voice raises before you even realize it, where you say things you promised you wouldn't, where fear takes the wheel and love gets quiet. That's not failure. That's conditioning. But conditioning is not destiny. Every time you pause before reacting, every time you breathe instead of blame, every time you soften your tone, you are healing what once harmed. And more than that, you are showing your child what repair looks like in real time. Say, I got too loud just now, and I'm sorry. I want to respond with patience, not pressure. Let's try again. That's not weakness. That's emotional courage. Repair, the most powerful parenting tool. You don't have to get it right the first time, but you do have to return. Return with honesty, with presence, with a willingness to say, that wasn't okay. You didn't deserve that. I'm working on this, and I love you. Repair doesn't erase the mistake, but it transforms it. It says, you matter more than my pride. This family is where we keep coming back. That's how we heal forward. Healing yourself is parenting your past. Sometimes, the inner work isn't about fixing your child. It's about sitting with the child you once were. The one who didn't feel safe to speak up. The one who felt unseen or unheard. The one who thought love had to be earned. Healing means showing yourself the compassion you longed for back then. It means becoming the parent you needed. Not just for your child, but for you. So be gentle with your past. Grieve what you didn't receive. And let that grief become growth. You are allowed to be both. A masterpiece and a work in progress. Affirmations for healing and generational freedom. Let's end this chapter with words that hold, soften, and restore. For you, I am not my past. I am my healing. I can break cycles without shame or blame. Each mindful choice is a step toward freedom. My child's story will be different because I chose to grow. I am healing forward with courage, with grace, and with love. For your child, I am safe. I am seen. I am allowed to feel, to grow, to ask, to become. I don't have to earn love. It's already mine. I carry strength from those who came before, and I am free to write my own story. This is the work. This is the legacy. This is the healing. Let's keep going. Let's keep growing, together. Chapter 17. Preparing them for life and letting them fly. You've held their hand, tied their shoes, wiped their tears, guided them through storms and seasons. And now, they're growing, stretching, reaching, not just for independence, but for identity. And deep in your heart, you know what's coming. The day when your voice is not their loudest. The day when your presence is not their constant. The day when they step into the world with the tools you placed in their hands. This chapter is about that sacred transition. The shift from holding on to letting become. You'll learn how to empower your child to trust themselves, prepare them for real-world challenges, guide without hovering, and release with faith, not fear. Because parenting isn't just about raising them, it's about releasing them, with roots that hold, and wings that rise. Let's begin. Trusting what you've planted. You've taught. You've modeled. You've corrected. You've comforted. And now, it's time to trust. Because the truth is, your voice is inside them now. In how they treat others. In how they handle stress. In how they bounce back after failure. Your presence lives. In their confidence. Their compassion. Their courage. So when they stumble, and they will, remember, you've already planted what they need to rise. Life lessons that last longer than lectures. They won't remember every rule, but they'll remember how you lived. They'll remember how you handled failure, how you apologized when you were wrong, how you treated people when no one was watching, how you spoke to yourself on hard days. These are the lessons that last. So instead of lecturing about responsibility, let them take it. Instead of warning them about every danger, equip them to think for themselves. Ask, what's your plan for handling this? What does your gut say? What kind of person do you want to be? When they feel ownership, they step into leadership. That's the transition. From being managed to being mentored. Guiding without gripping. Control feels safe, but freedom is what grows strength. Let your child try. Let them fail. Let them rise. Not alone, but not clutched too tightly, either. Say, I trust your judgment. I believe in your process. I'll be here, no matter what. That's the language of release. Not letting go in fear, but letting go in faith. Because you're not just raising a child. You're raising a future adult who knows how to think, feel, and fly. Affirmations for release, trust, and legacy. Let's close this chapter with words that bless the road ahead. Because you haven't just raised a child. You've prepared a soul for flight. For your child, I trust myself to grow, decide, and become. I carry my roots with me, even as I rise. I know how to come home, to myself, and to those who love me. I don't have to be perfect. I just have to be present. I am ready for life. One choice, one moment, one breath at a time. And for you, the parent, I have given what I could. And that is enough. I release with love, not fear. With pride, not control. I trust the work I've done, seen and unseen. I have raised not just a child, but a whole human. I let go, knowing love goes with them. Always. Because the greatest gift you give your child is not your protection. It's your belief. Let's keep growing, together. Chapter 18. The Legacy of Love. Your story is still being written. You've walked this journey, page by page, pause by pause, lesson by lesson. You've shown up in the hard moments. You've listened. You've reflected. You've grown. And now we come to the final chapter, not of parenting, but of this book. Because parenting never ends. It evolves. From holding hands, to holding space. From guiding steps, to simply standing near. From doing the work for them, to watching them become. This chapter is about the legacy you're building. Every bedtime story, every boundary held, every hug after a hard day. It's all part of a bigger picture. You're not just raising a child. You're raising a future parent, a future partner, a future leader, a future human who will carry pieces of you into everything they do. That's legacy. That's love, made visible. Let's continue. This isn't the end. It's the beginning of your next chapter. Parenting is not a performance. It's not about getting every word right, every choice perfect. It's about being present, being open, being willing to grow. You've done that here. You've said yes to deeper understanding, yes to healing, yes to showing up, not just for your child, but for yourself. And that changes everything. Because when one parent chooses to grow, an entire generation begins to shift. Your story matters, and it's enough. Your child doesn't need you to be perfect. They need you to be real. To laugh when things go sideways. To say I'm sorry when you mess up. To be their anchor when life gets hard. To remind them, over and over, you are loved, just as you are. And that is enough. That is everything. Final affirmations. A legacy that lasts. Let these final words carry you. Return to them. On the hard days. The quiet days. The breakthrough days. For you, I am growing, and that is enough. I am building a legacy of presence, patience, and love. I release the pressure of perfection and choose connection. I trust that what I plant today will bloom in time. I am the parent my child needs, and I am becoming more every day. For your child, I am loved. Always. I am allowed to grow and to be seen. I am safe to make mistakes and start again. I belong. I matter. I am enough. This isn't the end of the story. It's the foundation of something beautiful. Let's keep growing together.